Major, you look like you found a parking ticket in your coffee.
It's this whole new age policing. Back in my day, we didn't need therapy after a bad day. Just a hot cup of coffee.
And look where that got you, Major.
Maybe we should serve coffee instead of warrants. Jenkins! You good, man? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Or a divorce lawyer.
It's my divorce. I'm trying to serve and protect, but my heart's in pieces.
Listen, Jenkins, you can't serve from an empty cup. You think we're immune to stress?
All hands on deck. There's an active robbery at the local bank.
Time to put our heartaches aside. Let's show them what teamwork looks like.
And coffee later, right?
Let's just catch the bad guys first, Stiletto.
Ooh, I think I'm gonna like this city. Rob you blind here, and I'm here to cause total chaos.
Remember, Jenkins, your badge doesn't define you. Your actions do.
Oh no! There's Be Safe again. Run, you fool!
Please, don't run. You're only gonna make matters worse.
Right, let's do this.
Unfortunately, Officer Jenkins has to get out of his head and focus on the mission at hand so no one gets hurt. You're all caught. Hands up!
You fools!
You're under arrest.
Party pooper, Be Safe. You can't stop me. I know my rights. I'm just walking around here.
Not bad for a bunch of misfits.
Misfits who saved the day.
Hey, remember, it's okay to lean on us. We're family, and family sticks together.
Thanks, guys. I guess we're all in this together, right?
Just like old days, with a bit more therapy.
I would have gotten away with this if it weren't for you.
And this is right where they belong.
Let's show the world who we are. Cuffs and all.
When life gets tough, stick together. Because every heart needs a hero.
And that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Ball rolling down in the down in the now I know y'all be loving this shit right here. Ball rolling, rolling, rolling. What you gonna do? Rolling, rolling. What you gonna do now? Down in the rolling, rolling, rolling. What you gonna do? Right, y'all be loving this.
Get that. There we go. Take this one off the screen. Give me 1 second. Let me get this one off of here so it's not a distraction. We're there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Black and Blue. The podcast is just for you, where we go live weekly at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And when we go live with the first responder or law enforcement officer, no matter their rookie season or retiree. And we talk about their trainings, experiences, and their publications. We're not going to fall short today. I'm your host. I'm your motivational speaker, your empowerment coach, your author, and your favorite baker's favorite baker. I'm Ecclesiastics 302, the coldest code switching detective. And yes, you spell my name C-L-E-E. That means continuing law enforcement edutainment. I'm the king of 360. If you don't know what 360 is, check out the page. It's 3 miles with 60 pounds. We've been doing it faithfully and heavily for a while now, and we're having a lot of fun. We're gonna have fun this live, all right? This is gonna be an entertaining live. It's gonna be a bounce back. Last week, I'm not gonna say it wasn't depressing, but it was heavy, and it was heavy for me. I know that I got a lot of comments throughout the week. It was heavy for those who can relate. So I feel you, and I mean, I keep pressing on. You matter, you count. That was a big deal, and I'm glad we got a chance to get that out. So I figured instead of doing something, a continuation of that right now, not saying we're done on that topic, but we'll do something a little fun right now. This one's gonna be fun. We got some good stories. We got some entertainment. We're gonna be talking about some twisted stories. We're gonna be talking about some bizarre stories and very funny stories. All right, but I got to get this information out there. You already seen one of the cartoons by Sergeant Be Safe, and Sergeant Be Safe has his own YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to it, make sure you already do that. We're streaming on 7 different platforms right now. We're on 2, we're on 3 on Facebook, maybe 4. I forget sometimes. We're on 2 on YouTube. We're on 1 on LinkedIn. And when we're all done, this gets uploaded to Spotify. So no matter what platform you're on right now, make sure you tag, like, and share, but let everybody know about it, because we're going to be having a lot of fun. I see a couple people are already in here. We got Nina saying hello. We got Shayla saying good evening. We got my guy Rich over here from Northern VA. He's in the house. Thank you all for tuning in. Tag, like, and share. We're going to have fun today. I'm excited about this show. This show actually was probably the busiest one to prepare for. I barely got everything done right on time to go live today. I finished up actually yesterday, last night, probably around midnight. Got everything completed, because each day is another step, another preparation. But I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys will love it. I talked about Spotify. I did not talk about OneWay Publishing. OneWay Publishing is the sponsor. I got to get the sponsor in here so we don't get shut down. But we got to get the sponsor. OneWay Publishing. They sponsor the Sergeant Be Safe cartoons that you see on YouTube and on this podcast here. They sponsor Black and Blue, which is on the podcast just for you. And they're a book publishing company which makes dreams come true. Their motto is they can turn a mere thought into a book that's bought. And speaking of books, this live today was inspired by a trilogy, and I'll have 2 of them. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. I got 2 physically, and I have the 3rd one on Audible. These lives are twisted but true. 1's on Audible, 2 and 3 are right here in my hands. If you haven't already seen or read them, they are by Darren Birch. He's no stranger to the show, former guest on the show, and he's the inspiration to it. I had a lot of fun interviewing him. I had a lot of fun following up on his podcast, and he's done so much in the community. I just had to go ahead and get another one. He gave me permission to I got stories on here. They're mainly from his books or conversations, but they've been altered a little bit, got to change it up a little bit, but they're still enjoyable. So I'll give you the rundown. Today we're going to be talking about one is going to be a practical joke that didn't start off that way, but it was a practical joke with law enforcement. We're going to be talking about a victim who lied about how they got injured. And Sergeant Be Safe might even get into a little minor shootout or a scuffle. And this is all fun. This isn't poking fun at anyone or anything that's been going on. This is just straight getting some entertainment out there. All right. Then I'll express afterwards. Make sure you put your comments in the comment section. If you had some funny events while you were on the job as a first responder or law enforcement officer, we'd love to hear about it. If you want your name or where you're from shout out, make sure that you put that in the comment section as well, because since we're on all those different platforms, I can't always see who's on here, but I'll give you that shout out. All right. But after we get done with the videos there, the explainers there, I'll share a couple of stories. And I had to think, because I'm like, man, how can I end this segment after showing these great stories and me not having any great stories? And people ask me all the time, you've got about 20 years of experience in law enforcement in itself, and you don't have any funny stories. And off the top of my head, I could never think of any because I mean, it's a way of life. It's normal for me. And then I started thinking about some things where, at least early on, that I found fascinating or entertaining or couldn't believe. So we'll explain and we'll share some of those as well. All right. So I hope you guys enjoy them. We're getting geared up and set up for it. We got making sure I'm not missing anything. I think we got it all. Is anyone? Make sure you guys hit that like button. I appreciate that because the likes are free. So we're already we're about 10 minutes into it. We're gonna jump into the Taco Trouble Tuesday. All right, this one is a good one. This one's it's funny. It's based on a true story, also from Twisted but True, but it's changed up a little bit. This one it starts off a little normal. It has a little good punchline at the end or so. If you ever worked on night shift, you ever worked in law enforcement, you find ways to have fun because going from call to call is not always fun. So you take advantage of the opportunities, you take advantage of the moments, and then you enjoy them. And that's what this one is about. But no, my bad. We're gonna pull back because I gave Darren his shout out. I got to give him his shine. So you guys know he was on the show. We talked about his book, we talked about his podcast. Let me just give him a quick intro. Darren Birch, he's a writer, he's a producer. He's got 30 years of law enforcement experience. He's been on the Badge Zone. He's been with the Badge Boys podcast and the TV show. He's been on the ID channel for the American Detective, Oxygen Snaps. He's authored the 3 books that I just mentioned, and he's done so much more. That's just a short and brief rundown of the things he's done. So I want to acknowledge him. I want to give him thank you for letting me utilize your information on this podcast. And I'm going to give you a quick show on what he's done and what he was doing on the show.
He says, seriously, they're so funny. And this is after I've told a lot of these wild stories, like the guy who was doing a chicken in his truck, talk about choking a chicken, chasing a cow down the street. The one story that kills me is the Good Samaritan in my first book. If you hit that point, basically it's two guys go to the hospital. Both are bad shape. One had a sexual assault committed against them. So we understood. The other guy is beat to a pulp. And the other guy beat to a pulp is the suspect. But it just didn't ring true. Something was wrong with this case. As I looked at it, what happened is the guy who was supposedly anally violated had violated himself with a beer bottle, and he got it stuck, called his neighbor, Mr. Good Sam. He comes in to the rescue. Unfortunately, it tug, it didn't work, and there's yelling, there's screaming, so much screaming that they didn't hear the victim's son, who was a Marine coming home from leave, coming into the garage and beat the living crap out of this poor Good Samaritan. So anyways, these type of stories I would share.
Nope, sorry about that. So that was a quick rundown of one of the stories from his book, but here is a little bit about him.
Out of the studio, and a guy walks up to me, and I'm in uniform, and he says, "You're Sergeant Birch, Twisted but True Tales," which is what I coined that segment of that gig I did. And I said, "Yeah, how are you doing? Blah blah blah." And nice guy. And he said, "You need to write a book." And I kind of laughed because I'm not going to write a book. Right. Just a dumb cop. Come on. And he says, seriously, they're so funny. And this is after I've told a lot of these wild stories, like the guy who was doing a chicken in his truck.
And we just heard that story. So therefore, shout out to you, Darren. Thank you again. I hope you're watching. I hope you see the replay. Make sure if you guys check him out. He's got good information out there. I put his link in the comment section as well. So therefore, you guys can purchase his trilogy, his 3 books that are on Amazon. I have all 3. I'm not lending them out. I'm not letting anyone borrow them. So you guys are gonna have to get your own. But we're gonna have fun today. Like I said, Taco Trouble Tuesday, then one where we're playing pranks on each other. So here's a slideshow on that. Let me know what you guys think about it. I enjoyed putting this one together. It was a lot of work, though. It was a lot of work. However, we're gonna have it's a good showcasing of the story of itself. So here we go.
Taco Trouble Tuesday. I pulled a ton of pranks on my coworkers, but the one that still cracks me up is the night when my buddies Dave and Megan and I decided to share some tacos. It was 1995, and during a regular night shift, Megan and I made plans to grab a bite with Dave. Dave was our senior officer, a gentle giant who looked like he could take on a bear, but he had a heart of gold. He was a mentor to me, and I couldn't believe I was about to pull one of the meanest pranks on him. With our supervisor away, Megan and I planned to have a late-night lunch. Just as we were leaving the briefing room, Dave asked if he could join. We agreed, but didn't really lay out the details. Thankfully, this quiet Tuesday night allowed us to stick to our plan without interruptions. Around 1 a.m., it hit me that my cousin Mark was out of town, and his place was available for our little feast. Excited. I suggested to Megan that we hit Mark's instead of the usual greasy diner, and she was all in. Who wouldn't want a peaceful meal away from the chaos? I shot Dave a quick message on our patrol car's computer, inviting him for tacos and soda at Mark's. I gave him an approximate address, thinking it would suffice. Instead of the actual address, I sent him a random one. 1234 Elm Street, which just so happened to be right next door to Mark's place. When we arrived, we realized Dave was headed to a stranger's house for taco delivery. Mischievous. We couldn't resist the idea of him knocking on some random door at 2 a.m. As we parked in front, we stifled our laughter, knowing he'd never suspect a thing. A few minutes later, our burly officer arrived, juggling taco bags and drinks, knocking on the neighbor's door. Stifled laughter. Megan and I were barely containing ourselves, hiding behind the fence like kids watching a comedy unfold. After what felt like an eternity, the lights flicked on, and a bewildered couple opened the door to find Dave standing there, tacos in hand. Their confused expressions sent us into hysterics. The guy groggily asked, "Can we help you, officer?" Dave, sheepishly looking back and forth, muttered, sheepishly, "Is Mark home?" And that's when we lost it, laughing so hard we could barely breathe. I finally managed to yelling over here, causing the couple to shut the door in confusion. Dave stormed into Mark's patio, red-faced and furious, while we laughed uncontrollably, trying to regain our composure, but failing miserably. Even now, decades later, I remember every moment in vivid detail and can't help but chuckle. Thoughtful. Looking back, I know Dave had every right to be angry, and I told him a little white lie about how the couple were in on the joke. Thankfully, no complaints were filed, though I'm sure internal affairs would have been stumped. Today, Dave is doing great, still making impact in our community, and I remind him of that night every chance I get. So here's a shout out to Dave. Thanks for not throttling me that night, and I'm still laughing.
So what did you guys think of that one? That one, I read it the first time. It's a lot funnier, I believe, when I read it. But I think that was a good rundown of a practical joke that didn't mean to turn out to be a practical joke. As a first responder, you guys know that you can send messages throughout the car while you use multiple ways of contacting each other while talking. And night shift, you don't want to always go to the diner. You don't want to be approached by people every single time, every single shift. You don't want to always go back to the station or wherever the place may be that may be in your jurisdiction. Sometimes it's nice to get a new spot. So therefore, if you're house sitting for a relative and you can go there in the middle of the night, that's relaxing. It's comforting. It's out of the way. You can go ahead and have a nice meal. But then if he doesn't give the right address, and he gave a generality, and then he just went with it. I think it started off as more so an accident or just to get him in the area. And then he's like, well, let's see how this unfolds because this is going to be funny. Have him go up to the wrong house and knock on the door and have somebody come out looking at him crazy because you see a big burly cop coming up with takeout food. So again, I think that one was a good rundown of it. But we're going to transition to Sergeant Be Safe. Sergeant Be Safe, man, I'm telling you, man, each one, he's getting himself wrapped up in different situations and scenarios. And this one, he kind of gets in, he does exactly what not to do. He goes running into the middle, or he gets on the X, and he doesn't get off the X until he needs to be rescued. So this is actually based on a true factual story too. This has been altered dramatically. But if you get the Twisted but True book and you find the story, you can see the similarities in it. All right, we're gonna go to Sergeant Be Safe right here.
Welcome back, folks. Today's episode is all about dodging bullets and bad decisions. Buckle up.
We viewed chaos at the Broadway club, a full-blown brawl, and gunfire?
Ah, the Broadway Club, where the drinks are cheap and the tempers are shorter. Let's go before they turn it into a reality show.
Dude, you're horrible. Just quit. Oh my God, dude, you suck. You're really making me angry. I'm about to do something. Well, how about this? You can meet me outside. Let's go.
Guys, there are better ways to get a date than throwing punches.
Is that gunfire? Sure is. Doc, run!
And here I thought it was just another Tuesday night at the club.
Well, if you're aiming for a one-way ticket to regret, this is the express lane. Great. Just what I needed. A rooftop wannabe marksman. I'm not even on the menu tonight.
Get down, everyone. This isn't a game of dodgeball. It's a game of who wants to be a casualty.
I can't believe this. Who brings a gun to a dance party? It's not even a good drummer.
All right, team, we need to outsmart this guy. Major, what's the plan?
How about we use our bulletproof bunkers to create a human shield? Clay, you're in charge of the distraction.
So, I get to be the bait? Great. Just what I wanted for my career advancement.
Think of it as a unique team-building exercise. Who doesn't want to dodge bullets while bonding?
The crew grabs the bulletproof bunkers and make a barricade.
Let's make this quick. I'd rather not spend my evening playing target practice or planning a spontaneous fortress building contest.
All right, folks, let's wrap this up. I've got a date that's not going to wait for me. Looks like you missed your shot, bro. Do us a favor
And be safe. There's your chance. Go for it.
Remember, folks, safety first, and always check your surroundings for wannabe snipers.
And if you see a bunch of cops with bunkers, just know we're bringing heat.
Now, let's get out of here before someone else gets creative.
Until next time, keep your head down and your humor up.
Unfortunately, that bad guy sniper got away. We have no idea who he is. So if you do, phone in the tip. Let us know. And that's your tip of the day. That'll get you on your way.
All right. So what do you guys think? That one, the cartoon graphics I can only do so much with them. I mean, I try. I wish I could make a little bit more action, more running, more jumping. It's very difficult to do what it actually does. But that one, like I said, was based on a true story that's in the book. But actually, they didn't use bunkers. It was Darren Birch. He was actually being ambushed and shot at. He said, I believe correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he was shot at least 3 times in his career. And that was one of them by some sniper on a roof that was never identified or caught. And he was pinned down too, to where the sniper had him pinned down. They didn't use bunkers, that they actually were going to take the other officers that were gathered up on the other side of the cover. They were going to take their vest off and make like a human vest shield type thing, put them all together and have one of the officers go rescue not Sergeant Be Safe. I'm saying, sorry. Hey, what's going on, Tim? I see. Thank you, Nina. I appreciate it. They were going to wrap them up like a little igloo, like a little fortress, and go rescue the Darren, who was pinned down. Unfortunately, that never happened. It turned out to be one of his bizarre stories as opposed to a fatal story. But he explains that in his one of his books. I'm not going to tell you which one because you got to go find out for yourself. But thank you guys for tuning in. That was a good one. That was an explainer. The graphics are better than they used to be. If you know the series 1 of Sergeant Be Safe, those things were like block figures. But these ones, the graphics are better, but they don't always get to cooperate. They don't cooperate the way I want them every single show. So I got to kind of ad lib a little bit, got to narrate a little bit to kind of make it flow and make it make sense. So I hope you guys like that one. That's the second time actually that Sergeant Be Safe has been involved in the shootout. The first one was with the old graphics, ironically, and then another one when he was at the range. But yeah, there we go. We're gonna continue on with so this story is one of my favorite stories because it's ridiculously crazy, and to actually hear it on Audible when I originally heard it, it doesn't give it justice. I tried to capture it as well. I tried to give it justice as well. I think it's very unique. I think it's very funny. It's toned down a lot. The original version is probably rated X. This one is probably rated PG, maybe a little 13 or so. It's toned down a lot, but you still get the point. It still hammers it home. I actually talked about this story during our first interview with Darren Birch. He explained it a little bit deeper, and so to actually be able to adapt it for this kind of platform, it was a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, and it's amazing too. This one, again, is a toned down version. You're gonna have to read between the lines on certain things. The story is very interesting. It's I don't know how to explain this. Give you a brief synopsis without giving it all the way away. It involves a home electric appliance, a single victim, and a lot of blood. So let's check this video out. Let me know what you think at the end of this one. And nothing to do but to just get into it. Let's do it.
Ladies and gents, let me tell you a story from my glory days as a young landscaper. Picture this. I'm mowing lawns, living the dream, and then BAM! I hit a chunk of concrete that left me with a genital injury worse than a bad haircut. This injury was minor, and I bounced back after taking a break for a couple minutes. But hey, instead of airing my dirty laundry, let me regale you with a tale so bizarre it'll make your jaw drop. It makes my story sound like a nursery rhyme. Once, while playing the role of a sex crime investigator, yes, I wore a badge, not a cape, I encountered a case that could make a soap opera look like a Sunday picnic. We had a young man whose story was so twisted, it would make a pretzel jealous. This dude claimed that a gaggle of masked men broke into his apartment, and for reasons that remain as unclear as my last relationship, decided to turn his manhood into a craft project. Think DIY gone horribly wrong. Now imagine this poor guy in the ER trying to explain that his member was hanging by a thread, literally. The medical staff were baffled, and I was left grimacing every time someone said severe injury. It's like calling a tornado a bit of wind. He mumbled something about 4 guys holding him down while one whipped out a pocket knife. But here's the kicker. No other injuries, not even a scratch. You'd think if 4 dudes were wrestling him, he'd had at least a bruise or 2, but no, just a severe injury to the pride. I was skeptical. My gut was telling me this story was about as believable as a unicorn sighting. Fast forward to me playing Sherlock at his apartment complex, trying to piece together this wild puzzle. The neighbors were chilling outside, grilling steaks, playing horseshoes. Not a single one heard a thing, except a single scream that sounded more like someone stepping on a Lego than a brutal home invasion. The only sign of chaos in his apartment? A vacuum cleaner parked awkwardly in the middle of a pristine room, looking like it had just witnessed a horror show. Turns out, the vacuum wasn't just for cleaning floors. Oh no, it had an entirely different purpose. After a little detective work, I discovered that our friend had taken the whole suction thing a bit too literally, trying to achieve a happy ending with his vacuum. Spoiler alert, he didn't read the manual. I carted that vacuum over to the hospital, attachments and all, holding out hope that the doctors could play miracle worker and reattach our friend's manhood. But when the medical team fished out the unfortunate remnants from the dust and debris, the surgeon took one glance and declared it a lost cause. Turns out, the conditions were so unsanitary that even surgery wouldn't touch it. The doc laid it out straight. A bacterial infection would make any attempt to reattach that poor guy's shredded beef a recipe for disaster. Talk about a rough day at the office. When I confronted the victim, he sheepishly admitted he thought he was being clever. He read somewhere in an adult magazine that vacuum suction could lead to great things. But instead of following the safety tip of keeping his manhood away from the intake, he decided to go for maximum suction. Because why not? In the end, I didn't charge him for filing a false report. I mean, who needs to add insult to injury? But I did hit him with the $1 million question. What were you thinking? And his answer? I wanted more suction. He didn't exactly consider the genius move of using his 4-inch index finger to gauge the safety of his 6-inch buddy until it was too late and the fan blades had already turned his tool into confetti. This isn't just a plot twist, it's a cautionary tale, folks. Vacuums are designed for picking up dirt, for a DIY pleasure project. Keep your fantasies out of the cleaning aisle. So folks, remember, vacuums are for cleaning, not for, well, you get the idea. Always use the right tool for the job, and maybe keep your hands off the vacuum attachments.
All right, were you guys able to read between the lines on that one? That one was an interesting story. The actual story, I'll give you a little hints in there. Darren Birch actually was the investigator for it. He talks about it in his first book. It's on the volume 1. And the guy, he read in an adult magazine, one of those one way to self-pleasure yourself using a home appliance. And so therefore he was using the hose attachment for the vacuum for more suction, so he get the maximum amount of suction. But instead of using the attachment itself, yeah, exactly, I know. Instead of using the attachment itself, that individual was going straight to the root. And with the root, he decided to check it out by sticking his finger to make sure that it was a safe thing to do. His finger didn't get caught in anything and thought it was okay to do. So therefore, while self-pleasuring himself, stuck his thing in that same entrance, and it kind of mutilated it a little bit to the point where person let out a shriek in an apartment complex. It drove themselves to the hospital. The hospital, of course, when you come with an injury, they ask you how it was done. The guy said that he was burglary occurred, a home invasion actually, where some guys, masked guys, broke into his apartment, held him down, and cut this up in the charaded mess, which of course didn't make sense. So law enforcement gets involved. Darren goes down and starts investigating it, and he's like, this doesn't make it. And so four guys break into your house. That's all they do to you. You didn't get beat up. They didn't take anything. They go straight for that with a pocket knife, and you didn't fight them off or anything like that. And he said it was bad. pretty bad looking. So he goes back to the house. Of course, he sees in the complex there's a group of people hanging around playing horseshoes and grilling steak. And he asked them, did they see anything odd for the day? Everyone's like, no, typical day. Did you guys see any home invaders with guys with masks, nothing like that? Did you hear any noises? He said, one person said, yeah, I heard like a shriek, like somebody stepped on a Lego and hurt themselves or whatever. Then whatever the guy, whoever the victim was, came outside, drove himself away. You see, seemed like he was acting a little awkwardly, but nothing too eye-catching after that. So then Darren continues on his investigation, goes inside the apartment, sees it's pristine, no messes, nothing except a vacuum cleaner and a weird spot that with a pool of blood. Aha, clue number one. So therefore, he goes, checks his vacuum, and sees the remaining pieces of what was decapitated that were from the victim at the hospital, and takes the entire vacuum cleaner and brings it to the hospital staff. I know it's a little messed up. Brings it to the hospital staff. The hospital staff takes a look at it, and they see that they can't do anything with it because it's just covered in filth. You know, even if you would reattach it, it gets gangrene or whatever kind of bacterial infection. So therefore, Darren does have some of the best stories, absolutely. So therefore, they had to fix him up best they could without the reattachment. He interviewed this victim. The victim finally came clean, and he didn't charge him with false reports. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, dude's already in bad shape. Why not? Why would you do that to him? I know, Rich. And so he let it go and asked him, of course, the $1 million question. Why would you do that? He's say, you know, it'd be better suction. I was going for the euphoric feeling, and that's it. He ended up the way he did. That's one of the ones we talked about that, like I said, on the first live. We talked about that. I heard that in his first book. That is in his first book. That's a great story. I tried to manage it best I could so it doesn't catch any flags or red alerts on the platform, but I still wanted to convey that story the best I could. So I hope you guys enjoyed all the stories. Quite actually, I enjoyed making them. I enjoyed reading Darren's books again. I enjoyed bringing it to your attention. Like I said, this one's going to be this live. This got the bookmark falling out. This podcast is going to be different than it was last week. Last week was a little heavy, but it was necessary. This week it's going to be a little lighthearted and having a little fun. So therefore, again, transition a little bit. I'm not used to talking about myself or my experiences, but sharing this is, I think, it's going to be fun. Bear with me. May forget some things or start reminiscing about the old times or whatever may have you. But the first story I remember, I still remember the names, so I got to be careful I don't mention the names or the department I worked for previously compared to where I do now. I was a younger officer. This is going back almost 20 years now. I think I was probably my first year on the job or so. And of course, you know, all I ever wanted was to be undercover. And I got to do that amazingly quick at my first department working. And we got to run undercovers. We got to do plain clothes. We got to do a lot of buy bus. We had fun. I mean, fun. And understand, I'm in my mid-20s at the time. And so therefore, I also just recently got out the Army. So I was in Army shape. I also played semi-pro football. I think that was the third year I played it. And that summer may have been the last summer. I didn't know it at the time that I was going to be playing semi-pro football. So I was still in semi-pro football shape, what have you. So therefore, long story short, I'm giving you that foundation so you understand. I worked for a smaller department. The police department was attached to the borough community center and everything else. It was like a one-stop shop during the day. That's when it would be like a community center where it had a stage. People could gather. You could have events there. You could use it for weddings, many different things. It was a multi-purpose building. Okay, and the police department sat way off to the back corner of it. So one night, me, the chief, and another officer, we're out doing buy bus, and we're picking people up. And we do this buy bus on this female who was relatively skinny and short, but not too skinny, to not surprisingly skinny. I'll put it that way. So she's in handcuffs. She comes back to the station for whatever crime that was committed. She ultimately says that she needs to use the restroom. There's no females around either. And technically, she's a guarded prisoner because we were going to take her to get booked and go see the judge, basically. And understand at that time, from where I work, from the department spot to the where the arraignment would happen with the judge is probably about 40 to 45 minutes away. It was a good haul. So we had to do the process, and we were doing everything we could before we had to go. This individual said that they had to use the restroom. Of course, I'm on guard duty. I walk from the police department over through the community center to the only bathrooms. There's only one male bathroom, only one female bathroom. So you got to go to the other end of the stage to use this. I got to take, didn't have shackles on, just regular handcuffs. Took the handcuffs off, walked her to the bathroom door. I stayed outside the bathroom door. Now, these bathrooms have those high gymnasium windows. It's real high, and it's those gymnasium windows where you pull the handle and they would come down a little bit, but not enough where you could barely, at least for me, I could barely stick my arm through if I wanted to. Okay. So she's in there, she's taking her good sweet time. And then I hear something crash. I hear boom, 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 boom. I'm thinking, I don't know what happened off the in the bathroom. So I go open the door slightly. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? She comes out, with pants still around the ankles. I'm like, enough said. Sorry, something fell. Blah, whatever. I'm my apologies. And so I like, well, don't make that noise again. She goes back in, and I'm thinking she's gonna finish doing what she's doing. No. I hear a weird sound, and I don't know what it was. And I'm looking, I look, I don't hear anything in the bathroom anymore. And I go to the doors. The back doors are chained up. So here's the back door of the community room. And I look out that window, and I see this person running down the street, running to the main street where they would either turn right or turn left. And of course, the rookie in me, I'm like, no, my first person is not getting away. So I go for those doors, which are chained. So I have to go to the other doors, which lead out to the front of the building. I sprint to those doors. I get out those doors, and now it's the second level. So I can either run down the steps, or I could jump over the railing and down about a flight of steps, and I'll end up on the concrete. So therefore, I did that, landed on my feet. I was a hell of an athlete back then. I landed on my feet and didn't know which direction she ran from there. So mind you, she's on one side of the building. I'm on the opposite side of a brick building, not knowing. I did see her running, but I didn't see which direction, if she went straight across the street, if she turned right or left. So I figured I'd follow her same flight path, and I'm sprinting, trying to make up time. And I see her, and I get to the corner, and I'm hauling. She's about a block ahead of me, and I'm in full sprint right now because I refuse. I didn't have any radio. I'm in plain clothes again. I barely was back. I think I had like a Nokia flip phone. I'm in regular clothes. And what I didn't say is this local department is up in the mountains itself. So therefore, I think only one other black person lived in the town, and I'm the only black officer. And I'm chasing after her, running down the street. I finally catch up to her about a block later, and I don't have any cuffs. I don't have anything on me. Again, I just grab her, I yank her, and she's so light that I actually picked her up and kind of threw her to the ground, and I picked her up again because I didn't want her to run. And so I hold my hand back. I said, you run again, I'm going to break your entire face in. I didn't have any intent on doing that. However, I had to put the fear of God in her, because from there, I had to hold on with one arm and try and use the phone to call the chief. And I called the chief, of course, and he's laughing at me like, hey, what are you calling me from the bathroom for? I'm like, not in the bathroom. I'm down the street about a block. I need somebody to come get me, or while I'm walking her back. And he's not believing me. And so the other officer comes out. He's laughing. And all of a sudden he checks. He's like, no, Clee's really not in here. And so needless to say, I come walking through the field. I have her in tow. And we get back to the office, and we charge her with escaping and all this other stuff, but she gets recuffed, and I get her back to the station. I get a good pat on the back a little bit, but I don't, because I didn't yell while I was in the community center for more help. They could have came running out and helping me help assist anyway. But long story short, I say all that to say, after we get her back to the police department, she's cuffed up again. She's sitting on the holding chair, because you had to cuff them to the chair back then for your processing. I field a phone call, of course. phone call comes in. Guy's on the phone. He said, hey, I don't know if I should report this or not, but I just saw the weirdest thing. I saw a white girl running down the road and a black guy after her. The black guy tackled her and then threw his fist up at her. I said, I think you guys need to go check the area, is what the caller said. Ironically, I let him know that was me. I was an on-duty working police officer working undercover, going after an escaping detainee. And I don't know if they believe me or not, but the chief got a good laugh out of it. And I don't think I ever told that story before. It's a very true story. It's kind of started off embarrassing, but it's a true story. I mean, still caught them, got them. They didn't get away. Something a little bizarre, a little funny in the process. That's one of the interesting ones that I revert back to. I still remember her name to this day. I'm not going to say it, of course. I don't know where that person is. I don't think I've seen. That person could probably walk by me and I wouldn't even recognize him, but I remember that. And then following up, so I'll stick with the same department. All right, we're working undercover still, so same stretch. We're doing another buy bus, and I'm having the time of my life. We're wearing plain clothes, and I know the deal's supposed to go in this garage in the same area. So when I get the word, I'm supposed to jump out of this little side door of a shed. And the way it was planned, I would be able to cut off the bad guy's route. So he wouldn't be able to take flight. Thank you. Here, I have some pictures, actually. Let me go ahead. This is me at the fair working for that department back then, going after in foot pursuit, going after that individual. Yeah, they spelled my name wrong, but it is what it is. It happens all the time. So I'm going after, I'm in the shed, and I hear our CI and the bad guy, they conduct a deal for whatever we were conducting at that time. The other officers were surrounding. I didn't have, again, radios or anything like that. You know, you got to make it as realistic as possible. I didn't say it was always safe, but it was a lot of fun. And then the deal goes, but the bad guy never comes into the shed. So we're playing it. We'd rather still have the deal than not have the deal. So the deal goes, the code word's given, and I jump out, and because I'm in this door, I don't know where the bad guy is. I have to actually orient myself. Then I see the bad guy. He sees me. He takes off running again, and I'm in flight. Now I'm running down this back alley, and this guy, he was a pretty good sprinter at the time, and I'm wearing, I think, Nike Air Force or Air Max or something like that while in full sprint. And I pull my taser because I'm like, I'm not running down this whole alley. As I cut and I cut left to go in full sprint after him, I lose my right shoe. And so the decision is made because it's a gravel road. It hurts. The decision is made. Do I put my shoe back on and possibly let him get away in the process? Or do I continue flight and close the gap as soon as I can and not injure myself? So pride took over, of course, you guys know. So as I'm doing that, I'm chasing after him on this gravel road. I finally catch him, tackle him. Oh no, before I do go for the taser. One prong hit, the other prong went over his head. So we're still in flight. He throws the money in the air, and I hear my chief behind me. He's like, don't worry about it. I'll get the money. Go get him. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I just remember get him, and I zoned in. And so I remember since the taser missed, we made it down to another alley, tackled him in the alley, got the cuffs on him, and we're walking back. No, they send a car for me, put him in the back of the car, and I'm feeling great until the adrenaline wears off. And I didn't know that I cut, especially my big right toe, right on the crease on a piece of glass or a sharp stone or something. And I was out of commission for maybe 3 weeks, maybe a little more, until that hurt. That soaked up. I had on black socks, and you could see they were turning juicy red on that one. So it's not funny. It wasn't funny for me, but I did get an accommodation award for it. Here's the site for it. Is June 8th, right before my birthday, 2007. Wow. And here's the newspaper article. Yeah, that's how old it was. It's a newspaper clipping. That was a good fun time right there. Got a citation for that because we took down, I don't remember the exact number, but it was like 22 bad guys during the entire run of the buy bus, and we had a lot of fun doing it. Needless to say, that was in the early days, and you had a lot of fun. So those two right there, kind of funny, kind of not even bizarre, but they're interesting stories. And continuing on with the tradition of the stories, I got one with a buddy. He no longer works for my department. Let me see. Wow, impressed. Thank you. Great story. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. A friend of mine, we're at the shoot house. We're training, platoon against platoon, and we're doing at one of our local shoot houses where everything's real, but it's paintball guns, and everyone has a mask on, and we're doing scenarios where we have to do hostage or active shooter or critical incident response, whatever it may be. So therefore, in this training, this is years ago too. Guys I was in group with, I don't think any of them are still with the department. They've either retired out or other things have happened. But there was a sniper, a shooter in this kitchenette area who was hiding behind the refrigerator. So we had to find a way to enter the room with our bunkers as a team, and there was no real easy, realistic way to enter the room because every time he could just come from around the refrigerator and take shots at us. So finally we were able to maneuver and get inside the room, and we got close enough to the refrigerator that we couldn't take him in safely in the custody because he was on the opposite end. So therefore, of course, me still thinking he's taking shots, I go up over top of the refrigerator. I come down with the air gun and pop, pop, pop. I let off a 3-round burst, but still I'm in training. I'm being the hero. I'm trying to win, not knowing that it is training. And I forgot that the top part of the cover mask is not protected. So therefore, I just shot my buddy at close range in the head 3 times. He comes out, rips his mask off. He's ready to go. He's knuckling up. Yeah, I see 3 big blisters right on the top of his head. Until this day, I talked to him from time to time, not as much as we used to, but he does not live that down. So therefore, at the end of that training facility, he gave me some extra shots later on in some different scenarios. He might have miraculously came back to life, or he might have checked an area and he's gonna go back and recheck it. We might have even been on the same team, and then at the end of the drill, I catch one pow in the leg, just as a reminder that he had that blister on the top of his head. That was funny. That was a lot of fun. Those those trainings and scenarios were a lot of fun. Oh man, you guys want to hear some more? Let me know. I got 2 more that I thought of off the top of my head. Actually, it's kind of the 2-part with many. I'll go in. I got an award for this next story too. What is this? Yes, that's it. That's the award itself. All right. So I got a life-saving award for this is another picture right there. That was, I think, year 1 with the Chargers came out. I didn't have my duty belt on. Yeah, you see the young slim version of me. I had hair. I was standing in front of the car. It was a lot of fun. But I'm working a few years ago now, night shift, and there's a house fire. We get the 2 old ladies out. There's still a young lady who we finally get out, and there's a cane Corso upstairs as well. And not only that, oh yeah, you do. All right, great stories, cool. All right, I did have a good time back then. Yep, thank you. So the cane Corso is upstairs. All right, so the car catches fire and it's under the carport of the garage. So therefore, the garage catches fire, and where the garage is located is right by the staircase that leads up to the attic where the young girl and her boyfriend were sleeping. And so the house is covered in smoke. Like, as soon as you get to it, you can see it. The 2 old ladies come out. We think it's clear. Her granddaughter's here. All right, we get the granddaughter. She goes back inside. Like, what are you doing? She said, my boyfriend sleep upstairs. Like, you got to be kidding me. So therefore, my intent was, because she went running back in, my intent was to run back in and grab her and come back out, not knowing all the details involved. But she made it up to the stairs, and I lost her in the smoke. It was black smoke. Right, and I'm going up this staircase, and the higher I go, the closer I'm actually getting to the fire, where the wall is on fire. And I'm like, just my luck, I'm gonna get to this top of the staircase, and this car is gonna blow up right when I'm there, and it's not gonna be my fault, but it's gonna be my problem. Brings back memories. I know, doesn't it? And so I get to the top of the staircase, and I get to the attic, and it's black smoke, like real black smoke, and I couldn't breathe. Just like they say on the movies, you can't breathe. I couldn't breathe. Luckily, my partner came in right behind me, so he was right there, and he said, "What you got?" I said, "There's 2 people still in here, but there's a cane corso in here as well. I don't know where that's at, so don't get bit in the process." And we get in there, and I remember in elementary school when they say when the flames are high or the smoke is high, get low. So I'm ducking down looking for the clean air. There's no clean air in there, and I see myself on body cam. I look like a total fool, but it is what it is. I'm like, ooh, my eyes are burning, and we finally make it back to where the bed is, and the girls standing there yelling and screaming, and I grab her. My partner finds the guy who's in bed. He's really sleeping. He's knocked out. And he yanks him, he wakes him up. Come on, we gotta go. Come on. And he's coming to like, huh? What's going on? And like he's like, F that. He grabs him and does a legit fireman's carry and picks him up. And the girl's getting mad at us. Why are you manhandling him like that? What's wrong with you? I'm like, I can't believe it. I'm like, we're standing here. In my mind, we have seconds, you know. Realistically, it may not have been that bad, but in my mind, we had seconds. And then my partner yells out, because the house is on fire. Then he pushes her, I grab her, we go down the steps. He brings other guy down the steps, and lo and behold, he loses his body camera, but we do recover it. It falls off his uniform. We find that later. The fire department puts the fire out, and because normally we wouldn't have done this, but we go back in to make sure they did save the cane corso. The fire department did find and save the cane corso too as well. But one thing we did do once the fire died down is we went back in and we asked him why he was so asleep. He couldn't breathe, why he was so knocked out in that bed where he could have potentially succumbed to the smoke or the fire. And he said, well, he admitted that he was using some illegal narcotics, which we actually found, recovered, and charged him for, since we had to go in there and save him. So that was kind of like a hurrah for us. That was maybe pre-COVID about when that happened. I forget what year that was. You guys want to hear some more? We got a little bit of time. I actually thought this was going to be maybe a half hour, 45-minute live, but we're going straight up to the hour. I got one more story. You guys want to hear one more story? Let me know. Let me see what I posted some other pictures. Yeah. Decorated for getting an award. I think that's all the pictures I posted. You guys saw that one. You guys saw the citation. From age 17 to 52, we took 21 criminals off. Wow, I do remember that. The life-saving award. And that last picture right there. All right, I got one more story for you. I hope you guys enjoyed. Those of you who worked on platoons with me know that there's 3 things that I do not deal with. I call them my 3 S's. I don't deal with skunks, I don't deal with snakes, and I don't deal with spirits. So therefore, we had the 3 separate incidents. I get called out to a local park in the middle of the day where there was a live skunk. You guys know skunks don't come out in the daytime. Well, this one was believed to have been rabbit, and there was a lot of rabies going around with wildlife in that area, so we were supposed to capture it. Well, you know, first we were supposed to eliminate it, but without doing it in the head, so they could still test it, capture it, and take it to a facility. I was like, this has got to be the dumbest plan ever. So again, me and my partner, we're sitting there. The kids are finally put away, and the easiest way this thing is we stand our distance so we don't catch a whiff or get sprayed. We stand our distance, and we're taking body shots. And pow, I do one, thing rolls over. Pow, they do one, and I think we ended up with 4 rounds before the thing finally succumbed to its injuries. And I actually was at the last one. I was going to do a headshot, and I didn't care. I was like, we're done with this one. So therefore, long story short, we didn't have a net. We didn't have a scoop. We had a box, like a box a regular size box. And I'm like, I don't want to do anything with this. So we put the box over there in the end, and we fold 3 sides up, and we're going to scoop it and turn it. And so therefore we could get it up. And at that time, it didn't spray. So the box open as we are begin turning, the box opens, thing falls out. It's still not all the way eliminated, and it still doesn't spray. Hits the ground hard. I take off running because I'm thinking it's gonna come eat us or something. I don't know. And therefore we start this box scenario again, and we get the box and we get into a box, and the warden of the township at the time showed up. So thankfully that we got it into the box, they were able to take it over to the facility, the laboratory, to have it tested. So lo and behold, of course, we're happy that that call's over with. We're happy that that skunk didn't spray. We're happy that everything worked out. All right. We get back to our cars, then we have to go do an event at the school, at a different school, at an elementary school, where we have to put on like a minor program. So we get to the school thinking nothing happened. You know, we don't even have to talk about this story. And we get there, and immediately as we walk in, everyone's like, whoa, whoa, oh my God. And that's when it hit both of us, like, we got sprayed. And not only did we not smell it, probably because of adrenaline, but now that the whole school can smell it, our cars were reeking of it, our uniforms were done. Immediately we smelled it on ourselves, and it did not go away for the remainder of the day. Showers, I don't think there's a cure or remedy. I mean, you can use a lot of what they say, tomato juice or whatever. It was on me till the next day. But we were able to change, shower, all that. It got most of it off. I don't think it got in contact with any of our skin. Our cars had to be aired out. They were deadlined for, I think, the remainder of that weekend, where we had to leave the windows down and let the doors open, and whatever spray they used, they had to use that to spray those cars out. So that's and that was skunks. I didn't deal with skunks before that call. I really didn't deal with skunks after that call. So the snake issue, again, I'm working one of the nicer areas in the jurisdiction where I work, and I get a call for a snake that just fell from someone's ceiling. And you got to be kidding me, because I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm thinking it's a little thing. So of course, this snake falls out of someone who's prominent in this township. They've been on TV often. Their house. I didn't even know it was their house till I got there, and I recognized them immediately. And the couple was sitting there enjoying a glass of wine, watching TV, and all of a sudden, from their ceiling fan, which leads to their attic, a big black snake, longer than my arm. It was huge. Fell from their ceiling. And I go in, I'm like, well, where is it? And it was crawled over into the kitchen. And at this time, I didn't think it was a big black snake. I go look, I'm like, oh my God, this thing's coiled up. It looked like Anaconda. And I thought, like, well, I'm not going to be Ice Cube in the movie. I'm like, well, I don't think he died. I'm like, regardless, I come in with the dog restraint, thinking that I could just scoop it up, get it, wrap it, and get it out the quickest door and go. No, this thing fought. This thing, I'm scooping it. He was like, well, just grab it, Bob. I'm like, I'm not touching this thing. I don't care. This is your problem. This isn't my problem. I'm not even a snake handler. I'm like, there's other ways I could deal with this, but this is the best way. Like, if I could get a coil wrapped around where the restraint is and yank it out one of these doors, then that's the best bet we're doing. And then whatever happens after that, we're done. So thankfully, we open up the back door. I said, leave it wide open. I tried to snare it many times. It wasn't working. I'm snaring it. Every time I snare pull, it would slip out. I mean, it was slip out. So I was able to scare it toward the back door, got it outside. And then so it's me and this big snake on the back deck, and he's blocking my entrance in. So I could either run down the steps and disappear into the night, or go back, try and jump over it. But I don't know. The Lord must have spoke to him or something. I don't know, because all of a sudden he made a streamlight left and went down them steps and disappeared into the darkness. And so therefore, that was my close encounter. I've seen snakes while working. That was the closest encounter I had with an actual physical one that looked like an anaconda. It wasn't small by any sorts of the imagination. And finally, spirits. I don't deal with spirits. Of the three S's, snakes, skunks, and spirits. Me and another friend of mine, we're working night shift as well. We're backing up another jurisdiction who was at minimum capacity. Person calls in that they believe that their house someone was into a burglary of some sort was going on. Someone was in their apartment. This is a second-story apartment. You go up a wooden staircase. It's not the best wooden staircase either, so like it shifts when you're walking up it. Then you go into this little apartment, this makeshift apartment. We get there, and the one guy says, yeah, there's rumors that this place is haunted, so maybe he did see a something or whatever. He said, yeah, the person I saw in there looked like they were glowing, and they looked at me, I looked at them, and I just ran out, and then they didn't seem scared at all. I'm like, I don't believe any of this. I'm not doing this. And then all of a sudden, inside the house, like right at that time, a light comes on miraculously, like in the kitchen area, and shuts back off. I'm like, how often does that happen? He said, that's never happened before. I'm like, well, I'm not going in there. So thankfully, I have some friends that cleared the house, and I stood outside with a homeowner to make sure that they were, safe and fine, because they didn't need me. And they cleared the house. Nothing was found. We let him go back in, and he said if anything else suspicious happens, then he needs to take appropriate action, because certain things I don't deal with. I wasn't dealing with that one at all. Especially when I saw that light come on and it shut back off out of nowhere. No, it was not. Did not, will not, no, will not. But those are some of the fun, twisted, funny, bizarre stories that I had while working, the ones that I can remember. I know there's many, many more. I run into officers I've worked with or still work with, or people that I'm from the public, and they remind me of things that I forgot about. They say, remember the time we were doing this and you did? I do not remember that at all. So I know there's many times for they said keep a journal in the academy. I actually kind of wish so for one to have these stories like Darren has, for two to just to remember things. So any of you newer officers, first responders, you will forget things. So it is good to remember and write down the important ones, the journey along the way. It is a lot of fun. It's they say it's the ticket to the best show on earth. I truly believe that, because without working this job, you don't get to have the fun that we do and experience the stories that we experience. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We had Taco Trouble Tuesday. We had the vacuum cleaner victim. We had Sergeant Be Safe and Chaos at the Broadway. Talked about Darren Birch's trilogies. We got to introduce him a little bit. We had Twisted Tales that he talks about. Got to explain a little bit about my history, show a little bit of pictures. So it was a lot of fun for me, a lot of lightheartedness. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I did as well. I don't normally talk this much about myself, so this was very difficult for me, but it's different. It's part of growth. It's a lot of fun. So we're going to continue on. Like I said, the month of July is going to be a little ad-lib with time off and things like that. So we'll still be here. I'll bring you guys some good entertainment, some good knowledge, some good first responder or law enforcement, whether rookie season or retiree. We'll be here live on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you tag, like, and share. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I appreciate it. Make sure you take care of yourselves. 10-4, over and out. See you next week.
Sergeant Be Safe is inviting you to watch this exciting and fun podcast, Black and Blue. It airs weekly at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's just for you. When we go live with a dynamic law enforcement officer or first responder, whether they're rookie, season, or retiree. We talk about their trainings, experiences, and their publications. We've had tremendous guests already, and we have many, many more tremendous guests coming down the pipeline. You want to subscribe.
Sergeant Be Safe is here.
Black and Blue is on various podcasts, especially on YouTube, so make sure you guys subscribe. And don't forget about me, Sergeant Be Safe. I have my own channel too, so make sure you subscribe to that as well. We have many adventures, learning experiences, and we have fun while we do it. You guys don't want to miss it. Not only with the special guest that's being featured, you'll see video skits of me and the bad guys, Rob You Blind, Misdemeanor, Treacherous Tony, Chance Wilder, aka Wild Chance, and Sapphire Steel. And that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Just the facts, ma'am.
Black as you is, there's a whole lot of blue still shining through.
I'm not a bad cop.
I never once said you were. It would be real simple if the problem was bad cops. It ain't.